Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome to another honest review with me this time, Kofi, the blackest and obviously most suitable member of Unleash the Ghouls to decipher this film. I'll be going through some foreign language and international influence horror movies on this channel, so let me know in the comments if these should continue. Just quickly, make sure you hit the subscribe button or you'll get hit in the face with a bit of casual juju. There also will be spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the film and would like to, I'm suggesting doing that before we get into it rather than later. So, let's get into today's film, His House, a story of a refugee couple from South Sudan struggling to adjust to their new life in an English town that has an evil lurking beneath the surface. The film begins in a town in Sudan, and we are introduced to Bol and Rial, who manage to escape with their daughter Nyagak. They get on a bus that takes them to a boat, which they swiftly get on of course, and they sail out into the ocean headed to the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, on the boat, things do take a turn for the worse when they are in the middle of the ocean. A lot of the people on board, including the couple's daughter Nyagak, fall into the water and drown, but they must continue, so they do arrive in the UK without Nyagak. They have to stay in a refugee camp for quite a long time before finally being granted asylum, which obviously is a wonderful thing for them, even though they're given strict conditions such as keep your heads down, make no trouble, and most importantly, stay in this house for 6 months and you're not allowed to move, but after you do, you'll be granted citizenship and you can work and completely integrate with society.
You'll be reviewed and must report to us weekly. You must not miss a single report. You do not have permission to work or to supplement your earnings by any other means. You will be sent to a home of our choosing. You must reside at this address. You must not move from this address.
Wonderful news for the pair. Even though the house is trashed, filled with shit, infested with cockroaches, the neighbours are distant pricks, and the streets are filled with loud and annoying youths. They're obviously happy to have a home over their heads. Their contentment doesn't last very long though, because we do find out that their house is haunted. Bol starts to see and hear strange things coming from the walls, other paranormal shit starts to happen, he gets terrorised with images of Nyagak and really vivid visions. He tries to ignore it all because he's got to stay in the house, and fear of losing citizenship is obviously greater than the fear of the visions. But after a short while, Rial starts to see the same things in the house and speaks to Bol of an urban legend known as the Apeth, also known as a night witch, a story from Sudanese folklore of a creature that cohabits in the houses of thieves. The story from Rial's perspective goes as follows.
In our village, there was once an honorable but poor man who wanted a home of his own. He wanted it so badly he began to steal from others. One day, he stole from an old man who lived by the river. He didn't know that this man was an Apeth, a night witch. And so the thief could not know that when he built his home, the Apeth too would live there. So before long, the walls would whisper the spells of the Apeth. From the shadows, the dead would come. The Apeth would not stop until he had consumed the man entirely.
After we hear this story is when we find out that Nyagak is not actually the couple's daughter, but a child they snatched up on the way out of Sudan. The only way out was on this bus, but you had to have a family to get on. So, having no children, they saw a girl, Nyagak, and decided to snatch her from the street, enabling their journey to begin and leaving her mother behind chasing after them in desperation. Thus the introduction of the Apeth. In a short summary, we find out that the Apeth has one demand, and that is Bol, assumedly to replace the life of Nyagak. Now the film's concept was absolutely brilliant to me, and Dead knew that I was gripped the entire way through. My mum, being from Ghana, West Africa, having visited there many times, that's granted me a certain appreciation for this kind of tale, so it did actually speak to me on a little bit of an emotional level as well. Now, it's actually quite refreshing to see this kind of African tale told and represented so well, and I can tell you now that if you showed this film to someone from a country in Africa, they would never steal again in their entire fucking life. Now, if the story itself wasn't scary enough, the visuals that we get subjected to are dead creepy. From the scratching and banging of all of the walls, the way that this apple rolls across the floor in complete silence, to the seamless and gradual introduction of the Apeth and its voice, really put the shits on me. Paired with the small conversational pieces only when absolutely necessary, a suspenseful score and the atmosphere that we get, it pulled me right into the film and I couldn't look away. Although the film is a supernatural horror, we do see the addition of very real-life issues in the forms of racism and xenophobia. The officials at the immigration office tell Rial and Ball they have to be good guys, which inherently suggests that they are seen as bad guys. It's shown so obviously when Ball goes shopping, and as soon as he walks in, the security guard runs after him because he suspects him of doing something. On the other side of things, Rial asks some black kids for directions, and they take the right piss out of her, showing that even when she expected a level of understanding from someone similar to her, she didn't get it. Every little thing in the film just makes them feel more and more alienated. Another example for this is when Ball goes to the office to complain about the living standards of the house, like the walls are broken and there's infestations all over the place. All of the staff just seem to laugh off his comments and suggest that he should be grateful nonetheless, using comments like his house is bigger than mine and dismissing all of the claims, and once again pushing Ball to feel extremely alienated. The film does push on our emotions, and you can see the complexity of what's happening gets to us in different ways. Ball and Rial have their grief, they have their survivor's guilt, they have their mourning, and we also see the indifference of the immigration workers, which completely dehumanises them, giving us just a great plot in general. All of this encapsulated in a psychological horror, linking everything together, made me really enjoy the film. Now, inclusive of that, I would say that Chope and Wunmi are fantastic choices of actors for it. Their emotional expression is on point. Their accents are on point, and seeing them in this was great because I'd only ever seen Chope in Gangs of London and Wunmi in one episode of Black Mirror, Playtest. I'd honestly love to see these people in some bigger movies, and I hope they do quite soon. All in all, we've got a great plot that's really easy to follow, great acting, great visuals and high quality production and direction, but I better finish the movie now because I haven't got to the final scene, which really fucking annoyed me. The Apeth gives Ball an option, which is
your life for Niagak.
What?
Take this knife and open your flesh. Your body for us.
Ball obviously realises then that the Apeth cannot actually touch him or harm him, but only show him stuff. The Apeth decides to ask Rial to harm Ball as well.
Sever his flesh. Give me his body.
Which she declines, but Ball decides to cut himself anyway. Now once he does, it's quite disturbing because the Apeth comes up from the ground, it literally bursts through the floor and grabs Ball, finally being able to touch him, and puts its hand all through Ball's hand, and it seems to be using Ball as a kind of puppet. But what really annoyed me about the scene is Rial in the background, just looking at the Apeth torture Ball. She must have gave it about 2 to 3 minutes before she decides to run up and slice the throat of the Apeth. Now, if your husband was getting tortured for 2 to 3 minutes and you had the ability to kill whatever was torturing him, I'm sure you would act a little bit quicker than 2 to 3 minutes. But that was my honest review of His House. I thank you very much for listening. I've been Kofi. You've been fantastic for getting this far. And if you have got this far, please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. You fuckers.